So, on Attorney General's report, the court may appoint an inspector if it appears from the AG's report, that there are circumstances suggesting that number one, it will be in public interest. Number one, it will be in public interest. It will be in public interest. Point two, the company members are not able to access the company information. The company members are not able to access the company information. The company members are not able to access the company information. The company members are not able to access the company information. Next one. The persons engaged in the formation of the company, the persons involved in the formation of the company are guilty of fraud. The persons involved in the formation of the company are guilty of fraud. The persons involved in the formation of the company are guilty of fraud. Persons involved in the formation of the company are guilty of fraud. Next one. The business of the company, next one. The business of the company is being carried on. The business of the company is being carried on with the intention to defraud creditors. The business of the company is being carried on with the intention to defraud creditors. The business of the company is being carried on with the intention of defrauding creditors. I love your mission. The company was formed to pursue an illegal purpose. The company was formed to pursue an illegal purpose. The company was formed to pursue an illegal purpose. The company was formed to pursue an illegal purpose. The company was formed to pursue an illegal purpose. The company was formed to pursue an illegal purpose. The company was formed to pursue an illegal purpose. All right, tutoke hapo. Tunakuwa the next thing. Powers of the inspector. Powers of the inspector. And nilisema powers of the inspector, they're very similar to the powers of an auditor. They're very similar to the powers of an auditor. They're very similar to the powers of what? An auditor. All right, sema hivi, number one. Number one. To investigate the parent company. To investigate the parent company. To investigate the parent company and its subsidiary. To investigate the parent company and its subsidiary. To investigate the parent company and its subsidiary. Investigate the parent company and its subsidiary. Next one. To administer oath, kiapo. To administer oath to the witnesses. To administer oath to the witnesses, e.g., the members of the company. To administer oath, e.g., to the members of the company. So, the inspector administers oath. What unakula kiapo. And then what the next thing is kiapo? To examine stroke question the persons under oath. 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 Next. To require the officers of the company. To require the officers of the company. To require the officers of the company. To require the company, the officers of the company. To require the officers of the company. To provide the books of accounts. Provide the books of accounts. Next one. To demand for explanation. To demand for explanations. To demand for explanations. from the officers of the company, to demand for explanations from the officers of the company. Next one. To apply to the court, to apply to the court, to apply to the court, to examine any person, to apply to court, to examine any person, to apply to court, to examine any person that they have no power examining, to apply to court, to examine any person that they have no power examining, to apply to court, to examine any person they have no power examining. So for example, you might be the inspector, alafu umeenda kuinspect company, alafu unapata one of the directors is Riggy. Who's Riggy D? Is it Riggy D ama ni Riggy G? Who's Riggy G? Vice President. So utaanza investigate Vice President. Huwezi, itabidi uende kwa court wa the court. By the way, as I was investigating this company, I found one of the directors is the deputy president. Please, can you find a way to investigate him? Mimi siwezi. You might lose your life right together. Or you go to investigate, unapata one of the people you're supposed to investigate is the president. Sasa huwezi hasa wengine. Hello, Kishina na ndovu kunia, pasuka msamba. Next one, andika hivi. Persons that cannot be appointed as inspectors. 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 Number one, any person who is or has been, any person who is or has been the company's director or manager. Any person who is or has been the company's director or manager. Hyphen, due to what? Conflict of, very good, due to conflict of interest. Due to conflict of interest. Next one. Any person who is or has been the company's secretary. This statement to read 3 times. Any person who is or has been the company's secretary. Any person who is or has been the company's secretary. Again, to read. Any person who is or has been the company's auditor. Any person who is or has been the company's auditor. Any person who is or has been the company's auditor. So it will be 3 times. Allow the next one. Any person who is related. Any person who is related to the members of the company. Any person who is related to the members of the company. Any person who is related to the members of the company. And the next one. Any person who is a shareholder of the company. Any person who is a director. Any person who is a shareholder of the company. All right. Persons that cannot be appointed as inspector. And then we can add those 4 points Z. Undischarged. So undischarged, bankrupt. Undischarged, bankrupt. Mwingine, a person of unsound mind. Alafu ingine, a person who has been convicted of criminal offense. Nini. A person who's a discharged bankrupt. Ingine, a person of unsound mind. That is that. Those are persons that cannot be appointed as what? As inspectors. Let's go to the next thing. The inspector's report. Now that the inspectors investigated, you must write a report. Last week niliwafunza the director's report and the auditor's report. Ndio? Nikasema lazima ujue content hizo vitu mbili. Hizo content yake lazima ujue. Director's content and auditor's content. Please capture those ones. Yeah. Next one, the inspector's report. If the report has been certified by the AG, if the report has been certified by the AG as the true copy, if the report has been certified by the AG as the true copy, if the report has been certified by the AG as the true copy, if the report has been certified by the AG as the true copy, if the report has been certified by the AG as the true copy, it is admissible in court. It is admissible in court. It is admissible in court as evidence. It is admissible in court as evidence. It is admissible in court as evidence. All right. The following are the consequences. The following are the consequences. The following are the consequences. The following are the consequences of the inspector's report. The following are the consequences of the inspector's report. The following are the consequences of the inspector's report. All right. Number one, criminal prosecution. Number one, criminal prosecution. Criminal prosecution. So maybe where the court is of the opinion that, where the court is of the opinion that, where the court is of the opinion that, where the court is of the opinion that a criminal offense has been committed, where the court is of the opinion that a criminal offense has been committed, a criminal offense has been committed in relation to the management of the company, where the court is of the opinion that a criminal offense has been committed in relation to the management of the company, where the court is of the opinion that a criminal offense has been committed in relation to the management of the company. So a criminal suit will be instituted. A criminal suit, S-U-I-T, a criminal suit will be instituted. So, in a criminal case, a criminal suit will be instituted. And civil prosecution. Civil prosecution. Civil prosecution. Civil prosecution. Where the court is of the opinion that, where the court is of the opinion that, where the court is of the opinion that, where the court is of the opinion that the management has breached the duty of care. Court is of the opinion that the management has breached the duty of care. The management has breached the duty of care. The management has breached the duty of care. The court will institute a civil proceeding. The court will institute a civil proceeding. The court will institute a civil proceeding in public interest. Civil proceeding in public interest. Civil proceeding in public interest. Of course, the person when atakuwa na hizi stories zote is someone called the Attorney General. This is implied. It is implied that you know these things, by the way. It is implied that you know. The Attorney General anakamileta na maneno yote. That's why pale jitu tulisema if the report has been certified by the AG as the true copy. Alafu ya mwisho, petition for liquidation. Point ya mwisho, petition for liquidation. See this? The AG may petition the High Court. The AG may petition the High Court. The AG may petition the High Court to liquidate the company. The AG may petition the High Court to liquidate the company on the basis that, it is just and equitable to do so. The AG may petition the High Court to liquidate the company on the basis that it is just and equitable to do so. The AG may petition the High Court to liquidate the company on the basis that it is just and equitable to do so. Hapo chini niandike hivi, grounds for just and equitable winding up. Grounds for just and equitable winding up. Yes. Oh. Still on the Android. All right, series grounds for just and equitable winding up. Grounds for just and equitable winding up. Point ya kwanza, there is a deadlock in management. There is a deadlock in management. There is a deadlock. D-E-A-D, deadlock. Already nilisha kufunza what is deadlock in management. Nakumbuka, this is a serious disagreement such that the board cannot come to a decision. Next one, there's a deadlock in management. Next one, the company has lost its substrum. The company has lost its substrum. Substrum, S-U-B-S-T-R-U-M, substrum. The company has lost its substrum. S-U-B-S-T-R-U-M. The company has lost its substrum. Hyphen, reason for existing. Hyphen, reason for existing. The company has lost its substrum. Hyphen, reason for existing. Number 3, the company business is being carried on at a loss. The company business is being carried on at a loss. The company's business is being carried on at a loss. The company's business is being carried on at a loss. Alafu ya mwisho, the company was formed for an illegal purpose. 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 Sasa hiyo ndio hiyo. Hiyo ni grounds for just and equitable winding up. Kwa nini? AG ameona it is so. So that is that. Na hiyo swali iliulizwa last semester, question 6B. Tumeongelea past paper zako. 6A hapo, kama sijakosea. 6A last semester. Last semester question 6A. Tumeongelea past paper zako, question 6A last semester. Last semester question 6A. Haraka. Ewe acha. Swali uniambie. It is question 6C. Very good, yes. Iliulizwa last semester. These are the questions. Although ishaulizwa sasa. Sasa naambia students wangu ukiangalia paper last semester na vile kwambia swali bibi itaulizwa. Alafu sasa ukienda kwa hiyo chapter pia uangalie nini imebaki. Alafu angalie pia the previous semester. Sasa anyway, giving you pointers throughout the semester. Alafu the last subtopic in this chapter inaitwa cost and expenses of an investigation. The last subchapter inaitwa cost and expenses of an investigation. 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 So maybe in the first instance, the initial cost are paid by the office of the AG. In the first instance, the costs are paid by the office of the AG. Who must then be paid by? Number 1, the company whose name the proceedings have been instituted. The company whose name the proceedings have been instituted. The company whose name the proceedings have been instituted. The company whose name the proceedings have been instituted. Next one. The applicants for the investigation. 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 Excellent. Any person convicted in criminal prosecution. Any person convicted in criminal prosecution. Any person convicted in criminal prosecution. Next one. Any person held liable in damages. Any person held liable in damages. Any person held liable in damages. Next one. The company being investigated. The company being investigated. The company being investigated. And how many points do you have there so far? 5 points. Those are good. That is the cost and expenses of what? An investigation. Cost and inspection for investigation. So you do here. You do here. Cost and expenses of the investigation. Hadi hapo nani akuna swali? Nani akuna swali hadi hapo? Tumalizia chapter hili kwa chapter 11, 12 and 13. 11, 12 and 13. It was company accounts, audit and inspection. Inakuanga hivyo tu pamoja yote. Nanga story mingi. Our next chapter, it was corporate restructuring. Our next chapter is going to be called corporate. Does anyone have a question? Does anyone have a question after that point? Na kuna swali. Corporate restructuring, corporate restructuring, corporate restructuring, corporate restructuring, corporate restructuring, corporate restructuring, corporate restructuring. Aya, badilisha kampuni. Sema hivi. It is the change in the company's management. Corporate restructuring is a change in the company's management. Is a change in the company's management, comma, operational policies, operational policies, operational policies, operational policies, which may include changes in the capital structure of the company, which may include changes in the capital structure of the company, which may include changes in the capital structure of the company, which may include changes in the capital structure of the company. So hiyo ndio hiyo. So wakati unaona NIC na CBA zimeshikana, zikakuwa sasa NCBA. Wakati unaona KCB na National Bank zimeshikana, lakini KCB kabaki, National Bank ikaisha. Wakati unasikia Spire Bank has been taken by Cooperative Bank. Wakati unasikia, those are examples of corporate restructuring. You are redesigning the company's management, their policies, and even you may change the capital structure of the company. A company that was private can decide to become public. A company that was public can decide to become private, or both ways. So what tukiangalia for today. So tuangalia hapo motives stroke objectives of restructuring. Motives stroke objectives of restructuring. Why do people go for restructuring? Why? Why was Naivas bought? Why was Naivas acquired by Propraco? No, why was Naivas acquired by Propraco? Do you know that? Sinajua Naivas was acquired. Their majority shareholder, Naivas. You know about Quickmart. What about Quickmart? Unajua tu Quickmart ndio hot dog. Ni hot dog mnakula huko. Mambo ya management hamtaki kujua. Hello. So sema hivi, objective of restructuring. Kwa nini companies acquire and merge and do all that? Number one, to obtain reasonable finance. To obtain reasonable finance when the company is facing a financial crisis. to obtain reasonable finance when the company is facing a financial crisis. To obtain reasonable finance when the company is facing a financial crisis. To obtain reasonable finance when the company is facing a financial crisis. Ya pili, to eliminate the loss-making segment of the company. To eliminate the loss-making segment of the company by disposing it off. To eliminate the loss-making segment of the company by disposing it off. To eliminate the loss-making segment of the company by disposing it off. Next one. To eliminate substantial shareholding. To eliminate substantial shareholding. To eliminate substantial shareholding. So as to allow freedom in the management of the company. So as to allow freedom in the management of the company. So as to allow freedom in the management of the company. Next one. To merge with any company. To merge with any company with the aim of reducing competition. To merge with any company with the aim of reducing competition. To merge with any company with the aim of reducing competition among themselves. With the aim of reducing competition among themselves. Next one. To incorporate new economic activity. To incorporate new economic activity. To incorporate new economic activity that is more profitable. To incorporate new economic activity that is more profitable. Next one. To eliminate annual expenses. To eliminate annual expenses such as interest payment on debentures. To eliminate annual expenses such as interest payment on debentures. To eliminate annual expenses such as interest payment on debentures. Next one. To incorporate new technology. To incorporate new technology. To incorporate new technology. Alafu ya mwisho, to reduce cost. To incorporate new technology. To incorporate new technology. Alafu ya mwisho, to reduce cost. To reduce cost. So hizo ndo sababu za unaweza taka kufanya corporate restructure. Na si hizi peke yake. There are over 25 reasons. There are over 25 reasons. Nimefanya kupatia around 8-9. Ni ngapi hizo? 8. But ziko over 25. Nikasema tuandike zote, tutaandika hadi kesho. Ni nyingi. Why would you want to even maybe you may want to change your culture. You may notice that your culture is not a good culture in the organization. Ama umeharibu jina. Your reputation has been ruined. And wakati your reputation has been ruined in the market, no one is buying your product. So you may want to do a restructuring so that maybe you now come as a new person, or in fact you're not a new person, you're the same old what? Wolf. That's how. Yeah, so you're here, corporate restructuring. Even people do that. Even people do that. Nasikia mtu ameanza kubadilisha jina yake. Ama unasikia mtu anasema nama ile mtaa alikuwa anaishi. Ile mtaa alikuwa anaishi umechoma picha. So unahamu na mtaa ingine. Ukifika huko unaanza kukani kama ni mtu tofauti na kumbe ni ule tu mzee yule. Hello. Yes, it happens. Hello. Ni kweli. Hello. Na unaanza kusema by the way mimi ni hivi na hivi. Si kuanga hivyo. Have you ever drunk? Mimi pombe. Sio. Kama ndo nasemanga kitu fulani ni mbaya. Mimi ndio sijawahi. Mimi kwanza mimi am a new person. As of 2015. Sasa umefanya corporate restructuring. Not together. You're trying to change. You're trying to do it. And it's accepted. Change is inevitable. If there's anything in this life that is constant, it's what? It's change. We are constantly changing. Anyway, so the next subtopic becomes methods of restructuring a company. Methods of restructuring a company. Rama, ikifika prayer time, please tell me so that we go. Methods of restructuring a company. Sema hivi. Generally, we have three methods. Generally, we have three methods. Hizo peke yake ziko mingi. Generally, there are three methods. Number one, mergers. Number two, take over. Alafu ya tatu, acquisition. So Rama is saying, I was just about to tell you it's time. So hiyo ndio mzuri, ina shida. So tuandike tu hapo mergers, ya pili take overs, alafu ya pili ya tatu acquisition. So let us take a short break there. Rama, once you're done, kindly nishtue so that we continue. Thank you. So tuchukue mergers, sema hivi mergers. Say this, mergers take place where two or more companies operating under different names come together to operate under a new name, or otherwise stated. To operate under a new name or otherwise stated. Aya. Types of mergers. Hapo ndo tunataka tushikia swali hapo. Types of what? Mergers. Sema hivi. Number one. Vertical merger. Say this, where two or more companies undertaking different activities come together to operate. I see this. The companies must be dependent on one another before the merger. The company must be dependent on one another before the merger. E.g., a merger between an importing company and a clearance and forwarding company. So zinasaidiana lakini ziko kando, so zinaamua kushikana. Ni kama kampuni moja ina produce crisps, lakini kampuni inatengeneza karatasi za kupackage. So ile kampuni ya crisps inakuwa so profitable, wanaamua kuchukua hiyo kampuni ya kupackage, so they become one company. Ya pili, horizontal merger. Two or more companies which undertake the same economic activity. and do not depend on one another. 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 E.g., merger between NIC and CBA Bank. E.g., merger between NIC and CBA Bank to form NIC and CBA. Merger between NIC Bank and CBA Bank to form NCBA, Merger between NIC and CBA to form NIC. So the goal is to reduce competition. The goal is to reduce competition. Unit 1, horizontal merger. Next, conglomerate. Conglomerate. C-O-N, G-L-O, C-O-N-G-L-O-M-E-R-A-T-E. Conglomerate. Conglomerate. Merate. M-E-R-A-T-E. M-E-R-A-T-E. Rate. Conglomerate mergers. Sema hivi. Two or more companies that undertake different economic activities, two or more companies that undertake different economic activities, and do not depend on one another, and do not depend on one another, and do not depend on one another, and do not depend on one another. E.g., a merger between a supermarket and a petroleum company. E.g., a merger between a supermarket and a petroleum company. E.g., a merger between a supermarket and a petroleum company. E.g., a merger between a supermarket and a petroleum company. The objective is to increase market share and to diversify. The objective is to increase market share and to diversify. The objective is to increase market share and to diversify. The objective is to increase market share and to diversify. The objective is to increase market share and to diversify. All right, I'll give you two questions there. Question ya kwanza. List 7 types of mergers. List 7 types of mergers. Ziko saba. List 7 types of mergers. List 7 types of mergers. 7 marks. Next question. Discuss reasons why mergers may fail. What is that? Tear gas. Tire. Discuss reasons why mergers fail. Discuss reasons why mergers fail. 8 marks. Kwa nini ya merger may fail? Hizi ni issues za management. Issues za nini? Za management. Discuss reasons why mergers fail. Haya. So hiyo ndio hiyo. That is the first one. Mergers. Hizi zimekuwa mingi sana kukua tayari. Okay? You're in a roll strike. Usiku. Let's go to the next one. Number 2, takeovers. Ya pili takeovers. Ya pili takeovers. Takeovers. Sema hivi. It is where one company that may be facing a financial crisis. It is where one company that is facing a financial crisis. It is where one company that is facing a financial crisis is purchased by another company. 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 Sema hivi. It may be friendly takeover or hostile takeover. 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 It may be friendly takeover or hostile takeover, or reverse takeover, or reverse takeover, or reverse takeover, or backflip takeover, or backflip, back, B-A-C-K, flip, F-L-I-P, backflip takeover. Sasa unaona hapo mention types of takeovers. Wetu goja sasa nikimaliza kudiscuss notes, ulizo types of takeovers, useme sijawahi sikia types of takeovers. You know, sometimes I always find it interesting alone. Read your notes to understand them. Usizikimbilie tu, skim them properly. I tell my students to pass the law, you must read intensively and you also read extensively. Vitu ngapi? Vitu mbili. You must read intensively and then you read extensively. You cover all areas. Hello. So takeovers. Sema hivi. Generally, it follows the following procedure. 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 Listen. A submission for takeover, a submission for takeover, a submission for takeover may or may not be given to the company. A submission for takeover may or may not be given to the company. Say this next one. The ordinary shareholders of the company, the ordinary shareholders of the company, the ordinary shareholders of the company to be taken over, the ordinary shareholders of the company to be taken over, the ordinary shareholders of the company to be taken over, convene a meeting to discuss the proposal. 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 It's amazing. If they approve, next point, if they approve by a majority of 90%, if they approve by a majority of 90%, it goes on. If it is approved by a majority of 90%, it goes on, regardless of the wishes of the dissenting, I'm a non-consenting. Dissenting, D-I-S-E-N-T-I-N-G, dissenting or non-consenting members. Dissenting or non-consenting members. All right, next one. The non-consenting members have the option to go to court. The non-consenting members have the option to go to court. The non-consenting members have the option to go to court to apply for an injunction order to stop the process. The non-consenting members have the option to go to court to apply for an injunction order to stop the process. The non-consenting members have the option to go to court to apply for an injunction order to stop the process. The non-consenting members have the option to go to court to apply for an injunction order to stop the process. Say this. The court will determine the following. The court, next point, the court will determine the following. The court will determine the following. Next point. The court will determine the following. Alafu hapo ndani hiyo point, sasa the first thing, whether the meeting was properly convened, the court will determine the following. The first point ndani hiyo kitu, was the meeting properly convened? Next one. Was the quorum sufficient? 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 Next one. Is the compensation for the surrender of shares fair? Is the compensation for the surrender of shares fair? Is the compensation for the surrender of shares fair? Is the compensation for the surrender of shares fair? Is the compensation for the surrender of shares fair? Next one. Was there an oppression of minority? 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 Full stop. Turudi sasa kwa the main point sema hivi. Was the court satisfied that the proper procedure was followed? Once the court is satisfied that the proper procedure was followed, it shall approve the takeover. Once the court is satisfied that the proper procedure was followed, it shall approve the takeover. So the proper procedure was followed. Once the court is satisfied that the proper procedure was followed, it will approve the takeover, subject to review by the Competitions Authority of Kenya, subject to review by the Competitions Authority of Kenya, subject to review by the Competitions Authority of Kenya and the Registrar of Companies, subject to review by the Competitions Authority of Kenya and the Registrar of Companies. So, Patrick, you need to take over. All right. Next issue, acquisition. Mary, you're thinking a lot. Mambo ya dunia ni mingi. Is thinking sapa. Tapika nini? Manafikiria kuna already it is raining, so kuweza kuwa na traffic. Acquisition. What is the relationship between kunyesha and traffic? I don't know. You drive slow. Everybody needs to rush home. And then everybody rushes home, then yote mnakutana hapo. And then mnaguarana. Anyway, acquisition, sema hivi. It is where a holding company purchases majority. It is where a holding company purchases majority of ordinary share capital, in another company. It is where a holding company purchases majority of ordinary share capital in another company called investee company. Another company called investee company. So maybe the holding company acquires the control. The holding company acquires the control over the operations. The holding company acquires the control over the operations and financing decisions. The holding company acquires control over the operations and financing decisions of the investee company. So hiyo ndio hiyo. Hiyo ndio hiyo. Hiyo ndio nini? Hiyo ndio hiyo. Hiyo ndio nini? Hiyo ni acquisition. The next issue is defenses against takeovers and acquisition. You need to defend yourself. Somebody wants to take over your company. Somebody wants to control your company. How can you defend yourself? How can you defend yourself? Defenses against takeovers and acquisition. Hii swali liliulizwa 2019 the last semester. Alafu tena ikarudiwa tena 2021 the last semester. Defenses against takeovers and acquisitions. Mercy. Point 1. Pacman defense. Pacman inaandikwa hivi. PAC then man. Pacman. PAC man. PAC, that is Pacman. Is that a game called Pacman? Kanendangi hivi kakikula matunda. Have you ever seen that game? Pacman. Ilikuwa kwa brick game. Have you ever played brick game? Oh man. That in Yemen. Okay. You ever played brick game? Hiyo tunafanya hivi. Unakanendangi hivi ama kale kanyoka kanendangi hivi kakikula matunda kanakuwa mrefu. Bako unakuja unajuma mkia. Pacman. Ndio nini? Pacman. Yeah? Hata kwa Nokia ile Nokia zamani. Pacman defense sema hivi. The target company buys enough shares. The target company buys enough shares in the predator company to threaten them with a takeover. The target company buys enough shares in the predator company to threaten them with a takeover. Ati unajaribu kuninunua. Oh, mimi nanunua shares zako pia. If you can acquire me, I can also acquire you. Two can play a game. Two can play what? A game. Can you imagine? Safaricom is buying shares at Equity. Na Equity namua. Oh, even unataka. Equity now starts buying shares na Safaricom. Yeah. If you're going to take me over, I'll also take you over. It's called the Pacman defense. Next one, staggered board. Staggered. STAGGERED. STAGGERE. Staggered. Yani kama ile ya mlevi venye una staggering. Staggered board. Sema hivi. The board. BOAD. Board of directors. Staggered board of directors. This is where at least 1/3 of the board. This is where at least 1/3 of the board. This is where at least 1/3 of the board is re-elected annually. This is where at least 1/3 of the board is re-elected annually. This is whereby at least 1/3 of the board is re-elected annually. This is whereby at least 1/3 of the board is re-elected annually. Next one. The poison pill defense. The poison pill defense. P-I-L-L, pill. Poison pill defense. Sema hivi. Poison pill. Kama Romeo and Juliet. Romeo and what? Ati sasa mtu anakupenda mpaka anaamua ati atakunyonga na ajinyonge. Hiyo ni mchezo gani hiyo? Hello. If I can't have you, no one can have you. Mapenzi wewe. Rama Ali. Ito nini? The poison pill defense. Sema hivi. You borrow excessively to ensure that your company is highly geared. You borrow excessively so that your company is highly geared and make it unattractive. into the poison pill defense and make it unattractive. You borrow excessively to ensure that the company is highly geared. When I say highly geared, I am assuming ulifunzwa gearing, sindio? A company should be 2:1, sindio? Your assets should be 2, your liabilities should be 1. See, at liabilities ni 3 na assets ni 1. Ama si. Kama uko na 100 kwa mfuko, unafaa ukue jahazi ngapi? 50, si 150. Because ukiokoa 150 kutakuwa na shida. Sasa, kama uko na 10 kwa mfuko, unaweza kopa ngapi? 1,000. No. 5,000. Ni mingi lakini in business. You can do that. Next one, the tin parachute defense. Tin, T-I-N, tin kasuku. The tin parachute defense. Tin parachute defense. The tin parachute defense. Sema hivi. You offer excessively attractive terms to your employees, to your shareholders. You offer excessively attractive terms. You offer excessively attractive terms to the shareholders, to enable them to resist the takeover, 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 to enable them to resist the takeover. Next one, the golden parachute defense. 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 See this? The golden parachute defense. Including in the contract of directors, including in the contract of directors, where they lose office due to takeover or acquisition, including the contract of directors, where they lose office due to takeover or acquisition, where they lose office due to takeover or acquisition, they will be paid huge sums, including the contract of directors, where they lose office due to takeover or acquisition, they will be paid huge sums, S-U-M-S, huge sums. Ya mwisho. The next one, not ya mwisho, the next one. The crown jewel defense. The crown jewel defense. Crown jewel. So this, making the company unattractive. Making the company unattractive by selling off. Making the company unattractive by selling off its highly valued assets. Making the company unattractive by selling off its highly valued assets. 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 Idea Musa? Next one. Selling the shares of the target company. Selling the shares of the target company to a friendly party. Selling the shares of the target company to a friendly party. Eka hyphen. Hiyo inaitwa the white knight defense. The white, W-H-I-T, white. The knight, K-N-I-G-H-T, knight, yule ambaye for Game of Thrones. The knight, white knight, white knight. The knight protects those who are defenseless. White knight. Usiandike usiku. Na kama andika usiku, ongezea tu K. Because the K is silent. The white knight defense. White knight. White knight. White is W-H-I-T-E. Knight is K-N-I-G-H-T. A knight protects. And then if he's white, then definitely ana represent mtu mwenye ako friendly. Ukiona white tunajua ni friendly. Yeah, together. Yes. The next one. Conversion of the target company. Conversion of the target company into a private company. Conversion of the target company into a private company so as to prevent conversion of the target company into a private company so as to prevent the stakeholders from purchasing its shares so as to prevent the stakeholders from purchasing its shares with the intention of selling them to a predator. So as to prevent the stakeholders from purchasing its shares with the intention of selling them to the predator, with the intention of selling them to the predator, with the intention of selling them to the predator, with the intention of selling them to the predator. Oh my, sio ndio hiyo? Hizo ni defenses gapi? Yeah? Mingi, I can even list 14. Normally they are 14, ama 16. Okay, tuachie hapo. Let's have a question. What are the benefits of a hostile takeover? 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 4 marks. What are the benefits of a hostile takeover? 4 marks. Next question. What are the disadvantages of a hostile takeover? What are the disadvantages of a hostile takeover? 4 marks. What are the disadvantages of a hostile takeover? 4 marks. Tutoke hapo sasa. The next issue is reconstruction and amalgamation. The next issue is reconstruction and amalgamation. Reconstruction and amalgamation. Amalgamation inaandikwa A-M-A-L-G-A-M-A-T-I-O-N, amalgamation. Reconstruction and amalgamation. A-M-A-L-G-A-M-A-T-I-O-N, amalgamation. Tuseme hivi. Reconstruction occurs when to reconstruct. Tujikoshe kuwa na plasticine. Watu wa CBC. Unajua plasticine? Ile ya kufanya model. So unajua plasticine? Sindio? So ukiwa na plasticine, unaweza kuwa umeunda kama ni ng'ombe ama ni mbuzi. Lakini unaweza kaka uifanye nini? We remodel. That's inaitwa modeling. Una remodel unda maybe ball. Sindio? Unakaka unaweza unde oval shape, unde triangle. So ndio you need to reconstruct. It is where a company transfers. Okay. Reconstruction occurs when a company transfers. The whole of its undertaking and property, where a company transfers the whole of its undertaking and property to a new company consisting of substantially the same shareholders. Maybe the objective is to reorganize capital. And vary the rights of investors. The objective is to reorganize the capital and vary the rights of investors. The objective is to reorganize the capital and to vary the rights of investors. All right. So maybe types of reconstruction. Types of reconstruction. Types of reconstruction. Types of reconstruction. Number one, internal reconstruction. Internal reconstruction. Internal reconstruction. See this? It is carried out without liquidating the company. It is carried out without liquidating the company and forming a new company. It is carried out without liquidating the company and forming a new company. It is carried out without liquidating the company and forming a new company. Next one, external reconstruction. External reconstruction. External reconstruction. External reconstruction. External reconstruction. See this? It involves liquidating the existing company. It involves liquidating the existing company. It involves liquidating the existing company. It involves liquidating the existing company and forming a new company. And forming a new company. And forming a new company. It involves liquidating the existing company and forming a new company, which takes over the operations of the dissolved company, which takes over the operations of the dissolved company, which takes over the operations of the dissolved company, which takes over the operations of the dissolved company. Haya, sio ndio hiyo. Hiyo ni internal na external reconstruction. Haya, twende ya pili, amalgamation. Amalgamation, amalgamation. What is amalgamation? This is the blending, amalgamation. This is the blending of two or more existing companies. This is the blending of two or more existing companies. This is the blending of two or more existing companies to form a third company, 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 or one company is absorbed, or one company is absorbed into another company, or one company is absorbed into another company, or one company is absorbed into another company, or one company is absorbed into another what? Company. Hiyo ndio hiyo sasa. Hiyo ndio hiyo. Procedure of reconstruction. Procedure of reconstruction. Procedure of reconstruction. Procedure of reconstruction. A meeting of creditors. A meeting of creditors. A meeting of creditors. And for each class of shareholders, a meeting of creditors. And for each class of shareholders is convened. A meeting of creditors, and for each class of shareholders is convened. The next one. The notice convening the meeting must be accompanied. The notice convening the meeting must be accompanied by a statement. Must be accompanied by a statement. Must be accompanied by a statement. Must be accompanied by a statement explaining the effects. Explaining the effects of the reconstruction. The effects of the reconstruction. The effects of the reconstructions. to the interest of different stakeholders. Interest of the different stakeholders. Next one. The notice convening the meeting must be accompanied by a statement explaining the effects of the reconstruction to the interest of different stakeholders. Next one. Each group shall consider and vote on the reconstruction. Each group shall consider and vote on the reconstruction to approve or disapprove, by simple majority. To approve or disapprove by simple majority. To approve or disapprove by simple majority. Very good. Next one. When the necessary approval has been maintained, the court will authorize the reconstruction. 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 Hapo chini andika the role of the court. Hapo chini andika the role of the court. 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 It ensures that the reconstruction is not ultra-virus. The role of the court. Si ni point moja na flow, ni nini? Nikimalizia hiyo ndo ndapumzika. Malizia haraka. It ensures that the reconstruction is not ultra-virus. It ensures that the reconstruction is not ultra-virus. It ensures that the reconstruction is not ultra-virus. Or follows improper procedure. It ensures that the reconstruction is not ultra-virus or follows improper procedure. Number 2, that the meetings were properly convened, 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 and the required majority approval was obtained, and that the required majority approval was obtained, and that the required majority approval was obtained, and that the required majority approval was obtained. Next one. Whether each class of shareholders and creditors, whether each class of creditors and shareholders, whether each class of shareholders and creditors, whether each class of shareholders and creditors was properly represented. The next one. Next one. It ensures that there is relevant disclosure. It ensures that there is relevant disclosure. It ensures that there is relevant disclosure. And objection of minority and objection of minority was taken care of. And objection of minority was taken care of. And objection of minority was taken care of. Alafu ya mwisho, it issues a final approval. It issues a final approval once all legalities have been complied with. It issues a final approval once all legalities have been complied with. It issues a final approval once all legalities have been complied with. So hiyo ndio nini? Hiyo ndio the role of the court in reconstruction. Umesikiaje? Iwe. Hello. Iko nini? Ndio hiyo, the procedure of reconstruction. Masi, kuna swali hadi hapo? Nyingine inaitwa discussed post-merger realization issues. The last question, cha kweli. Discuss post-merger realization issues. Discuss post-merger realization issues. Discuss post-merger realization issues. Discuss post-merger realization issues. Hizi ni issues zinatokeanga especially after the company has been formed in form of mergers. Ya kwanza ni hii, choice of company name and logo. Choice of company name and logo. Choice of company name and logo. Choice of company and logo. Ya pili, choice of organizational structure. 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 Ingine, employee compensation and benefits. Employees compensation and benefits. Employees compensation and benefits. Employees compensation and benefits. Ingine, property ownership. Hizi points zinafaa kuelezewa ni vile sizielezi hizi unanitolea timu mechoka. Property ownership. Property itakuwa registered under whose name? Property ownership. Next one. Communication management. Communication management. Communication management. Afya mwisho. Realignment of the company's accounting systems. Realignment of the company's accounting systems and internal control systems. Realignment of the company's accounting systems and internal control systems. And internal control systems. Realignment of the company's accounting systems and internal control what? Systems, internal control systems. So hiyo ndio hiyo. Hiyo ni nini hiyo? Hiyo ni discussed post-merger realization. No, ni discuss. Mimi nime highlight. I've said I was supposed to discuss, but nimezoea kuzi highlight. You're supposed to discuss them. Useme kutakuwa na what will be the new communication channel, who will now be in charge, how are reports supposed to be submitted, what will be the name of the company, which name will we abandon, which name will we use. Even when people get married, sometimes there's the problem of which name. The man may tell the lady, drop this name. The lady says, no, I will not drop my name. No, this is my name. Kitaka tunazongezea yako. So, the issues that come up. Property. In whose name would the property be registered? The husband's name or both your names? No. People become dangerous. So everybody wants to protect their own skin. Anyway, we need a grace. So hiyo ndio. Any question about that page? Masi. Mary. Who is Jane? You're crying in pattern. Who is Jane? No problems. All right. Gloria. Any question? You're good? What about Patrick? Good. Okay. The next chapter will be Anika, the next chapter. Receivership, administration, liquidation, and dissolution of companies. That's the last chapter. Receivership, administration, liquidation, and dissolution of companies. Receivership, administration, liquidation, and dissolution of companies. That is the chapter that when we meet next week on Monday, tutamalizia. That is going to be the last chapter. In that class, during the first 1 hour, 30 minutes, I will be able to be done with that one. and then we can start reading. I believe receivership, administration, liquidation, and the solution of companies. So next week on Monday, expect us to be done. So yeah, next week on Monday, pray and hope that I'll be around so that tuweze kumalizia hiyo. So guys, yes, have a blessed end of week. And I see you when I see you, that is next week. Stay safe.